If you've been online the past few weeks, you know that there's layoffs going on in tech, and you may be wondering, why don't I see those numbers in unemployment? Well, in this video, I'm going to explain that. Things look pretty crazy out there. Home prices are slowly starting to stop the growth or to go down in price. Some places as much as a 17% decrease year over year. In the hot pockets, obviously. Stocks have continued their slow slip on the stock market, and CPI numbers are still as high as ever despite record inflation. So it's pretty obvious that the economy is not going the best direction. But even with these tech layoffs, we are not seeing these extreme changes in unemployment numbers. Why? That doesn't make sense. Well, we've been in a bubble in tech. I talk about it on my channel. I think that we are in a tech bubble. I think that we are in a salary bubble in tech. For example, these unprofitable companies are offering some of the best tech compensation in the industry. These tech companies can offer amazing perks like on-site laundry and lunch, even for remote workers. And these startups haven't had to carefully budget because they can go fundraise more money. It seems like these tech companies are unstoppable, and that's because they have looked unstoppable for several years. Apple was the first company to reach $1 trillion, and the big 5 tech companies of the FAANG make up $9.3 trillion on the stock market. That's more than the other top 20 companies combined. That includes big companies like Tesla and Walmart. But Jeff Bezos warned us in April 2022 that the market would crash, and things are crashing. Amazon reported its first loss since 2015 in its most recent earnings report last month. Apple is no longer the most valuable company in the world after losing that $200 billion in its value. Meta lost a record $230 billion in market value in February after disappointing earning reports in which it revealed Facebook platform had experienced its first ever user decline. And the secret is out. The performance bar for a lot of these tech companies is increasing. Now, it's no big secret that Google and Facebook, Amazon have been known for toxic work environments. Even if you do get one of those Amazon jobs with the great Amazon stock, there's still a chance that you're overworked at your job, or possibly you're working with other teams that are not well organized. There is not good communication in the company. A lot of these larger companies create their own problems, and some of those problems are just not having a good way for teams to work together, causing some people to work more than they need to and some people to work less. Well, Zuckerberg said himself that a lot of people in tech are not working that hard or overpaid, and that the volume is about to get turned up. And Zuckerberg may be the only person willing to be so bold in their statements, but he has offered employees to take a severance from the company now before the heat gets turned up if they are not ready. And that severance in tech is the thing that I think will keep UI numbers low, or in general keep UI numbers from reflecting the amount of people laid off in tech. Now, let me explain. A lot of these big corporate tech companies, some of the FAANGs and some of the other larger companies, offer these great employment packages, and that extends beyond just the compensation salary. A lot of these companies offer severance, even to people who are underperforming on the team. I know some people watching on this video say, severance for what? Did you get laid off? Well, what if you voluntarily leave? There's no severance there, right? Well, no, with these big tech companies, they give severance to people even if they weren't meeting their goals and were put on a performance improvement plan. These severances are usually 3 to 6 months of the salary, and on top of that would be paid PTO. So companies like Facebook/Meta, who are telling people, hey, do you want to take your severance now and leave the company? Well, these people are looking at anywhere between $40,000 to $60,000 to walk away from the company. Does that affect UI? Well, it depends on how they get it. If they voluntarily leave the company, then they cannot apply for unemployment insurance. That's called quitting a job, and unemployment is for those who unexpectedly lose their job. So no, those people cannot apply for unemployment. But what about those who are laid off or fired from the job? Now, this is interesting. I heard this from a Facebook engineer recently. Well, I guess ex-Facebook engineer. He had worked at the company for 2 years, and towards the latter part of his job, he got put on a performance improvement plan. Now, with Instagram and Facebook, the way that they judge their employees, they have it as mostly meets goals, meets all goals, exceeds all goals. Now, mostly meets goals is considered not performing as you should. That's a little bit underperforming. And if you are mostly meets more than one review in a row, then you could risk being let go from the company. So he had 2 reviews where it was mostly meets. He was put on a performance improvement plan, still not exceeding his goals. He said that his goals were increased before that, but at some point they offered him, you're about to get fired in 2 weeks, so you can take the severance now and have more money and leave the company now, or you can wait to be fired. Which, that's a great employment perk. It definitely makes FAANG more attractive as an employer if they're gonna pay you to leave. And he was looking at that like 40 grand number to leave the company. Now, if you get fired from your job and you get 40 grand, can you apply for unemployment? In some states, yes. Even if you get paid 40 grand to leave a company, you can still get unemployment insurance. But if that payment is paid out over a course of several weeks, every week that you're waiting for new payment from that lump sum is a week that you cannot apply for unemployment. Now, here's the part that not a lot of people are considering in this game. If you are laid off or fired from your job and given a severance package, not every state will let you apply to unemployment. So let's say you're laid off and you were given a 6-month severance. Let's say you're working in Texas with Tesla or Amazon, one of these companies that's new to Texas. Well, if you went to go apply for unemployment insurance or just to get benefits, then you would need to report that severance and how many months it covered. If it did cover 6 months, well, 6 months is the timeline limit for a lot of unemployment payout. So this person could be exempt from unemployment because they have 6 months of severance. That's as much as unemployment would pay out. So that person cannot apply for unemployment. And not a lot of people are considering this as they move to their new non-Californian tech capital. A lot of these states are a little bit more conservative, like Texas, and they are going to take that severance as your replacement for UI. That means that these people will not show up in unemployment numbers. But even those people who are applicable for unemployment insurance, there is a chance that some of them are walking out with 60 to 80 grand, especially in these senior positions. If you walk out with 60 to 80 grand on top of your most recent paycheck, there's a chance that you're not rushing to go find a new job. And a lot of these people at those positions and those salaries don't need to rush to go get a new job because they are the in-demand engineers that people talk about with a tech shortage. So they're not running out to go apply for unemployment to be under those unemployment numbers. I don't think that they're going to show up in unemployment numbers either because, well, if you have 80 grand in your pocket walking out from a job and you know you can go get a new job within a month or 2, why are you running to go get unemployment? It's nothing close to what the severance is paying out. And there is another nefarious reason why severance is more common in tech companies. Now, companies don't want to fire people or lay them off. I know that doesn't sound believable, but it affects the amount of money they have to pay to unemployment insurance. Some companies out there that have high turnover, well, they definitely do pay for that in unemployment insurance, and that might be an aspect of their budgeting or business practices, but generally speaking, companies want to keep the cost of their unemployment insurance low. Well, how do they keep it low? They don't lay off or fire that many people. So a company that lays off people once every 20 to 30 years, it's going to have a very low unemployment insurance rate. A company that keeps employees on average for 5 years tenure, they will also have a very low unemployment insurance rate. But companies that have high turnovers or that have layoffs every 2 to 3 years, I'm looking at you, Loan Depot, they have high unemployment insurance rates, and that rate is recalculated every year. So if this year when there's a big layoff, some of these companies are going to start seeing increased unemployment insurance rates, but the big megas on the stock market, the FAANG companies, they can't even risk that rate going up. Not only does it affect the percentages that they pay out to unemployment insurance, it affects the stocks, right? If you hear that there's tons of layoffs going on Facebook, you're going to go sell your Facebook stock, and that hurts the stock overall. So there's that incentive for companies to keep unemployment insurance rate low, and if companies want to keep the Fed off their back, then they're going to do everything they can to make sure that they don't lay off people en masse. They're going to pay them to leave so they quit their jobs with these huge severance packages. or if they do have to fire or let them go, they're going to give them, again, these huge severance packages so these people don't have to apply for unemployment insurance. Those numbers never show up to the public, and so the Fed can keep the parade going, making it seem like the economy has a better control on itself than it really does. I think many states learned their lesson with COVID and unemployment, so a lot of these unemployment systems have been revamped. I know California is doing facial recognition when you apply for benefits, and I think we can expect that going forward with some of these people who are laid off. We may be catching those people who are getting paid out for unemployment while they have a severance package, but generally speaking, we will not see these tech layoff numbers in unemployment numbers. That's why I made a video saying I think it's the mortgage industry that's going to increase unemployment numbers, because tech is paying tech workers off, and the best people in tech can always get a job. Like I say in every video, tech is the newest human revolution. So everyone in tech has some sort of stability, more than, say, a librarian, but there are a lot of jobs with a lot of candidates on the market, and the tech talent gap is disappearing for many roles. If you want to be best prepared for your job search, or just know the tech industry before you really get deep into it, subscribe to my channel. If you've been in the industry for a while and you agree with anything I'm saying, please let me know in the comments. And of course, I want to hear if I'm wrong. Someone else on another video told me I was wrong, and I want to hear more about it, so it gives me more ideas for videos. Thanks for watching my channel and checking out this video. I hope that I see you in the next one, and please subscribe.